Okay, it's up and running.
Is this an extra seat? Is anyone sitting here?
Nope.
Oh, okay, thank you. Or I can use the corner mark.
That's fine.
Yeah, a table makes it easier, so thank you.
Yep.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
This is not getting around.
It's live. There's a lag a lot of times. Yeah, it's fine.
He's gone.
Yeah, tap it or push on it or do something.
I think the slideshow. There you go.
All right, you're on.
For the workshop? One. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. My name is Ron Jennings, and I'm a financial advisor. I represent the Office of Consumer Protection today for today's workshop. What we have today is called Your Money, Values, and Influences. This is normally a workshop that takes about 2 hours with a lot of participation and everything, but we're going to skip over some of that, and you can do those at home. We only have an hour today, so we'll get through that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, raise your hand and ask. We're going to have some discussions in here. Anything that's said in here stays in here, so feel free to open up and talk if you want to. So again, the module is Your Money, Values, and Influences. And this is a pre-training survey. So you have this in your participant guide. So if you could just take a few minutes and put down what you know as far as your money values. So we just need, It's going to take a couple of minutes. And I'll continue on. You can set up at home. So, values and money. And the information on this is in your participant guide, starting on page 3. So, the key takeaways in this section will be understanding your values can help you set achievable financial goals. So, what are values? Values are people, things, and places that are important to you and guide how you make your decisions. The values shape how you prioritize your time, your energy, and your money. We all come from different backgrounds. We think about things that are important and not important. What might be important to you might not be important to me, and vice versa. Growing up, I'm from South Carolina. I was born in South Carolina. My family migrated north. We came up when I was 9 months old. But I know that some of the values that my family had, as far as being Southerners, that when they came up, when they migrated north to do things to get jobs and stuff, they sent money back home, no matter what. No matter if they had to live in a a rooming home or whatever the case may be. They had to send money back home. And this was like in the 50s, 60s, things and like that, so that they could help. So that was valuable to them. And people like that. Some people, no matter what, how much they make over here, they send money back to their countries. Because the people in those countries may not have jobs. They may be their mothers, their other family members that just don't have money. So they have to provide for them. So that's what's important to them. So values shape how you prioritize your time, your energy, and your money. So, and you can do these at home in the participant guide. Answer the questions to identify your own values. What is important to you? Is it people, things? What's important? What value might these answers represent? What I described was family values. Okay, when I talked about my family and how important things were to them. So, this one you can also read at home. Valentina, well, we'll do this one here. Valentina and Isaiah decide how to spend their tax refund. And I'll read it from here. You can follow that along. And then I'm going to ask you what you think each one's value is. Okay? So here, Valentina and Isaiah recently received their tax refund and can't agree on how to use it. Valentina put herself through college by working 30 hours a week on top of a full course load. She still has some student loans. Her mother is struggling to make ends meet. Valentina would like to give her mother most of their tax refund to use as a security deposit to move in a new apartment. She wants to use the rest to continue paying down her student loan debt. Isaiah's parents helped him with college expenses with money they saved over the years. He graduated with minimal loans and paid them in full a few years before he and Valentina met. He would like to put most of their tax refund into a savings account they've set up for their 3 children. He wants to use the rest to take a family vacation. He wants to spend quality time with his family. So, understanding your values can help you set achievable financial goals. Now, some of those goals, like Isaiah, he had the goal of, Valentina, I think, her goal, just by what she said and wanted to, her values were family, okay? And her husband's values were things that were more important. They wanted to save money for the future. She wanted to take care of her mother with their income tax refund. So they had different values. And so those are things you have to understand and realize and respect and understand with each other. So section 2 deals with goals and money. So setting SMART goals helps you achieve your hopes and dreams for the future by providing realistic plans to follow. What kind of future do you want? These are your hopes and your dreams. What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your family, your children, things like that. Goals are your desired results. So you set your goals, you prioritize them on how to use your money, and you measure and track your progress. So goals are SMART. They should be specific, they should be measurable, action-oriented, reachable, and time-bound. So specific, definitely what exactly do you want to accomplish? Okay, why is it important to you? And is this something you really want? Is it measurable? How much is it going to cost? How many do you need? How long is it going to take? Things like that. And how will I know when I've met that goal? Is it action-oriented? What specific actions do I need to complete in order to meet that goal? In other words, specific goals, you may have to go out and get a part-time job, depending on what it is. Okay, you may want to save for a down payment on a home, which might mean I need to get a part-time job or something like that. Is it reachable? Is it something you can go? Is that house you want a castle, or is it a 2-bedroom, ranch? Is it time-bound? When I reach it? How long is that going to take? Do I have to save this money for a year, 2 years, 5 years, just to reach that goal? Okay, write those things down, make them SMART goals. So Maria set SMART goals, and you can do this at home. We won't do this here. Do that. Here is where you have a page 9 where you can set your goals here. Make the specific ones, make them measurable as possible for you to do. Don't make goals that you realize you can't accomplish. Okay? If you can't afford a $500,000 home, don't set a goal to purchase a $500,000 home or a $50,000 car. Setting smart goals help you achieve your hopes and your dreams for the future by providing specific and realistic plans to follow. So your external influences are page 10 on your participant guide. And external influences have financial choices. So use strategies to help you stay focused on your goals. And then as you can see in your section, there's a lot of external influences. External influences might be family. They might be just competition, friends. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We all know that expression. That's an external influence. Trying to keep up with your neighbor because they got a new car, you want to get a new car. Back in my day, keeping up with your external influence means dressing a certain way. You're trying to keep up with the other guy on the job or something like that. So influence on choices about money. Advertisements. We know advertisements really have an impact on us. Although now I look at MSNBC all day long, all I see is that turkey going around looking for a pill that they're doing. It's like the same advertisement all the time. Newspapers, radios, all those things that are out there. And they do have an influence on us, especially TV ads. They glam them up to make them look palatable or like, oh, I really want one of those. And they have certain influences. Celebrities go out there and do commercials and ads. So be careful with that. But I think the biggest influences sometimes are the peers and your friends, also known as keeping up with the Joneses. Any questions or anything, comments so far? Influence can be productive. Do things to help you achieve your goals. Other things can be unproductive, like standing in your way. And that could be competition. It could be family. Somebody that don't want you to have what you want to attain. So be careful with that. Anything that's productive is helping you achieve your goal. My big thing is, do research on what you want to do. There's enough information out here now. It's not like, well, you got to go to the library and get a book. You can do things on the internet to get some of the information you need to do what you need to do. External influence for small groups is advertisements. Media. Media, again, is the newspapers, television, that sort of information. Did I go backwards? No. So social pressure on advertisement, it's human nature to want what others have. Okay, and we all know that, we all see that on a daily basis. My thing, again with me, my thing when I was younger, I would buy a shirt, even if I didn't need a shirt. That was just because I wore a suit every day. Every day to work out. I wore a suit 6 days a week because I went to church almost all day on Sunday. But my thing was buying shirts to go with my suit. And I would have white shirts, powder blue shirts, if I didn't need them. If it was on sale, I probably brought it. Okay? That really was my weakness. Not so much now. But that was my thing, was buying clothes that I absolutely did not need. So advertisers spend money to influence how we spend money. So they go all out, they glam things up. We know that, we see that on TV. Impulse purchases can make it harder to achieve your goals. So one of the main things about impulse purchases is don't go and do shopping or go out to certain places if you're hungry. Okay? Because you're going to buy food that you don't necessarily, it's going to be expensive. Be careful about being hungry going certain things and doing that. Like it says, those impulse purchases. I'm not going to go to the mall unless I have a certain goal. I'm not going to go to the mall to stroll. Okay, that's going to cause me to make an impulse purchase. If I want to go to the mall because I need a pair of shoes or something like that, that's different. I go and I leave. Strategies for staying focused on your goals. Recognize tactics used by advertisers. Anybody recognize anything specific that advertisers do? Sometimes they'll have something on, they'll do a commercial, and they'll show something that might make you hungry. Notice when and where you're tempted. Be good with that. Like I just mentioned, going shopping, going to the mall. If I take somebody to go with grandchildren or something like that to the mall, I don't look at anything. Control your environment, control what's around you. Now, it's just my wife and I at home, so we don't have a lot of stuff in the cupboards and in the refrigerator. We don't need it. I'm on the road a lot. She's in and out a lot. She works at Deloitte. So we don't have a cupboard full of food or a refrigerator full of food because we wind up on Saturdays throwing a lot of things out because we're not home that much. So we have to be careful with that. So a lot of things are less and less. I don't dress the way I used to, so my cleaning bill isn't as much as it used to. I used to go to the cleaners every week. I don't have to go anymore now. Okay? So I save a lot of money there. I save money on cleaning bills. I save money on lunch money. And now, since my office is at home, I save money on gas. A lot of money on gas now. And that's me being in control of certain things. If I know I'm going to be out one day and somebody wants an appointment, I might set that appointment for the day that I'm going to be out. So we don't have to keep going back and forth, burning a lot of gas or whatever. Build in a pause to take time to think about what you're doing. To sit back and just put some thoughts in your head. Do I really need to do this? So more strategies for staying focused. Talk yourself out of it. It's really the key. What's important? Are you doing this to keep up with the Joneses, as we used to say, or is it something you really need to do? Is it more important that you save for some goal because you want to buy a home or because you're saving for retirement? Saving for retirement is really, really getting more and more important now because there are a lot of vehicles and things for us to do and to put money aside, especially tax deferred. We know about our 401k plans and things like that, but we also don't know what influences our politicians are going to have on the future. Things are changing every day, as we know. So laws that are in effect now, at the stroke of a pen, that law can change, and you'll be in a different situation. Now, I don't think you're going to mess with too much with our Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, things like that. So some seniors are okay. We might be fine. But those of us that have to work a little longer, those of you all that have to work a little longer, I'm a senior too, you have to concern yourself and worry about what the future holds and what it's going to be. Listen to what's going on. You're saving money. My generation, our thing, when the 401k plan came out, that was the biggest thing for us. Because before that, you didn't really, if the job didn't give you a pension, you didn't have a savings. You had Social Security. So when 401k plans came out for my generation, that was a big thing. Most of us took hold of it. But things are happening, it's changing, laws are changing, just stay focused where you have to and what you have to do. Think about hourly wages. I'm looking at the audience. I don't know too many people have to worry about that. And this is just a formula to show you what you should do. Look at the cost of the item divided by your hourly wage. And it equals to the hours you have to work to get that particular item. So realize that. Staying focused on your goals. Think about the strategic strategies we've discussed today. You can use them to block unproductive messages or use them to let go of ideas that aren't helping you achieve your goals. Answer the questions below, which you have in your workbook. Those of you here and at home, you can do it at home. And figure out which ones might work for you. Okay. So we're almost done, quite frankly. We do this kind of quick. Did you want to do some exercises or anything? Have any questions? Okay, so let's go back and we'll start with kind of the participant guide. a lot of those in here. This is the first page of the, no. We did that. Slide 14. Right. Here, do this one. This should be on,
Page 7.
page 7. I have the. Okay. So page 7, you'll see, Maria sets her SMART goals. It's almost summertime, and Maria wants to start planning for the next school year. She knows she'll need extra money for school supplies and clothes when her kid starts school near the end of August, now 15 weeks away. Every time she tries to pull together the money she needs in the weeks right before school starts by picking up extra shifts at her job. It can be stressful because sometimes shifts aren't available. She remembers spending about $300 last year on school supplies and clothes. She divided $300 by 15 weeks and realized that $20 a week, that's $20 a week until school starts. So complete this table. Ask yourself, what does Maria want to accomplish? Okay, and the exercise you need to pen anybody. And why is it important to her? Okay, and I'll be glad to take any responses and that and participation. Next specific part. Measurable, how much money does she need? Okay. And how will she know when she's met her goal? Right. That's exactly right. I'm just doing it document. Okay. Now, what specific actions does she need to complete and meet those goals? Say that again?
Shifts.
Shifts?
Yeah.
And,
$50 a week.
right. Okay. That's the $20 a week that she's gonna have to work some extra shifts.
Get the shift.
First, she needs to get the shifts. That's right. Overtime might not be available. And,
She might have to save a bit more. To make sure that she.
accomplishes that goal.
Plus it's after-tax money. It's
That's
net-
what?
It's net money, it's after-tax.
It's after taxes. And a lot of people don't think about that when they do that. They say, well, okay, I make $20,000 a year, so I'm bringing home 20,000. No, you're bringing home 15, something like that. And this is why it's good to write things down and keep some sort of budget and know what's going on. You know, we get paid sometimes, and we go out, we do this, we'll go shopping, and then go home, and you don't have as much money as you thought. And I'm confessing a little bit. When I was single, I'd get paid, and me and the guys went to, a hole in the wall after work and had a few drinks before we went home. You know, it was Friday, it was payday. That's what you did back then. But many of us had a lot less money than we got paid when we got home. That was another big weakness for me, but I was single, and I was staying home. But that was our thing. So it's time bound. When will she reach this goal? When? She says that $20 a week. Yeah, $20 a week by 15 weeks. That's something. She's not making a lot of money. It's going to save $300. It's going to take 15 weeks. But there's situations like that. A lot of people don't have it. I mean, just in the community around here, sometimes the people have to put a lot of money away, and a lot of people throw money away. One of the big things, and I'm not against them, but sometimes the people that need money the most are the ones that go to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee. Okay, when they don't need it. Nothing against Starbucks. But you're one of those. Okay. I'm exactly the opposite. I go to McDonald's and get a senior decaf. And that cost me 73 cents.
Free refill.
Yeah, I don't say that, but that cost me 73 cents. That satisfies me. So I spent 73 cents when somebody else spent $4. But the same, and I don't drink coffee all day. That cup of coffee in the morning, that's very rare. If I go to a fancy dinner at night, then maybe I'll have a cup of coffee. But other than that, I'm spending that 72 cents, and that's it as far as the coffee. And these are things we have to look at. Like I said before, another thing was my cleaning bill. I had a horrendous cleaning bill because I'm wearing suits every day. Suits and my shirts were big starts. They weren't going into the washing machine. So between suits and shirts, I was spending a lot of money on dressing to go to work. So that now I go to the cleaners. I think I go to the cleaners maybe 3 times a year. Okay. And one of those reasons is because I have so many clothes now. But I don't wear this. I don't wear this every day. Working from home, I might have on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt if I'm not going out. So I save a lot. Like I said earlier, we save money on clothing and food right now because we don't eat out a lot.
Like late fees or another thing, that a lot of people.
And they don't pay attention. Sometimes they can't help it, but there's education out here and there's training out here to show them how to do it, to avoid those late fees. A lot of people don't realize how to avoid late payments being put on the credit report. Okay? If they pay, even if they have to pay late, don't pay 30 days late. Because they may get charged a fee for making that late payment, but it's not until 30 days that it gets reported on the report. So that's when it really impacts the person. We get 30 days late on things. But some people, and I know them, they're in my family, things like that, they're just totally nonchalant about stuff until it's time for something to happen. And they realize what happens. They wonder what happened when their score is 375, their credit score or something. So it's just a lot to be careful with, pay attention to. It's so much going on out here. And we have to be aware, like you said, people they pay when they pay. Or they'll go to some of these check cashing places and spend money unnecessarily, as opposed to opening up a bank account. They'll go and give their money to a check cashing place, which at that check cashing place, they're going to buy a money order, they're going to buy a telephone card, or whatever the case may be, and spend more money unnecessarily than they have to, as opposed to going to some of these financial institutions and opening up accounts. And here in Montgomery County, they have banks that are part of Bank On as an organization. So even if you had a bad credit history with banks, Bank On will put you in some of the banks and refer you to some of them we know. Bank of America, Capital One, Mid-Atlantic Federal Credit Union is part of Bank On. And they'll let you open up accounts if you've had a bad past. You just have to keep an obligation there. That obligation might be, okay, we'll give you a checking account, put $50 in the savings account and leave it here and don't touch it. And we'll allow you to open up a checking account because you can't normally open up one. So the information and stuff is out here for people to do things on that. We just try to get the word out. Office of Consumer Protection, Montgomery County, we do try to put the word out in a lot of functions for you all, for the public to take advantage of on that. So let's see if we have another exercise. Any comments, anything? Let's try another. We did Valentine and Isaiah. So we know Isaiah's value was more family.
So it's dinner, right? So she wants to take care of her mother.
She wants to take care of her mother. So there's two different things here with a husband and wife.
family, that is for both.
But he's more his family,
Oh, yeah.
to his immediate family. That's his family, it's my wife and my children. I want to make things good for them. You know, I did things my way. You know, I paid up my student loan, I did this and that. And you understand her situation. But this is something where the couple has to try to work together and see what's wrong, because you do understand her situation.
Yeah.
But you understand this too. And he's saying, okay, we've done this, we've done that. We have money in the savings. We need to take a vacation as a family. Okay, family that prays and stays together. But her situation is valid also. That's her feeling. Those are her values, not everybody's values. And that's the important when we talk about values and influences. Okay, and like I said before, my family, my generation before me and that, it was important to send money back home, take care of grandmother. And my grandmother was their mother. You know, she didn't have an education. You know, if you know, I'm not gonna tell you when I was born, but my family was way back. If you look at the movie The Help, it's an old movie, but that movie is my generation and my family. Okay, with the men worked whatever they could find, but fortunately, like for my uncles, they got into the military. So when they got out, they had GI Bills and things like that to help. Other than that, they probably would have been porters, you know, things like that, working in buildings and stuff, because they didn't have much of an education. My generation was the first generation to really get the education. That's when college became important. Okay, it was my generation. That's why I wanted to make sure all three of my kids got to college. And then you're on your own. Okay, I'm here, Dad is here, but you're on your own now. Okay, those are my values. Okay, my kids don't call me up asking me for anything.
Education.
Yeah. And now at this point now, if they do, I'm not giving it to them. Because I know how they were raised, I know what I put in front of them, and all and things like that. So they should have all of their ducks in a row. And as usual, women are much better than men. So my daughter, my daughter's a vice president of the corporation. My son's different, and they're older than she is. But that's just life. But none of them can come and say, Dad, you didn't do this. Okay, I can say to my sons, you didn't do this. You know, things like that. So those are values. Those are values to me. My values was being there in the home, being a father, raising my children, and getting them through college. Once I did that, then, you know, here I am, but now it's my turn. You know, I brought you into this world, I'll make sure you get what you're supposed to have. Things like that. And what influenced me was, I guess, family. Seeing how my family was. Seeing how we were close-knit. And we did for one another. They argued, they fought, as families do. But we knew at Thanksgiving we were going to Thelma's house. At Christmas, we was going to my grandmother's house. At Easter, we was going to somebody else's house. But it was going to be the entire Jennings family. There was aunts, uncles, and everything. That's how life was there. Another exercise. We had time, or we good? Let's find another exercise over here. But I'll tell you one, you know, it's just one thing. Once you have a handle on your money and your finances, life can be really, really good. Don't be influenced by some of these outside resources. It's a lot of things out here that are corrupt. A lot of things out here that are, you know, just know what you're doing and what you're shopping for. Let's see here. And the scams, the phone scams.
And a whole nother hour, those skills alone.
Right, yeah. It's crazy. You don't know what to do. I do a thing where when I get a number that comes in, I'll write it down and then I'll look up that number when I don't answer it. And then either I'll look at it, it'll show, you know, it'll say something like unidentified or whatever the case may be. But some of them I'll call back and see what's what. And many of them don't answer. So that's when I know something's up. So let's talk about a little bit about external influences. Influences and choices about money. Messages about money can be so widespread you don't even realize they are influencing your decision. Most people are influenced in some way. And influence can be productive or unproductive. This is on page 10. So what are some influences that you guys think might have an impact on you? Is it advertisements? Is it something you see? Is it family? Is it the media? In comments and input? I told you what mine was. It wasn't so much peers, it was just looking a certain way. Look at professional. As you not seeing me in the same suit more than once a week or something like that. That was just my thing. Friends, when I was a teenager, we had friends. There was a certain types of shirts we wore in high school. It was called a blanchard knit. It was a knit shirt, and everybody had to have them. If you didn't have those, you weren't cool. So those were, and so if you took all your part-time job money to buy one of those shirts, that's what you did, and you had no money on Monday, but you still lived at home, so that wasn't a problem. So influence.
Now it says here a cell phone. One was an iPhone or the other Samsung.
Yeah.
The other having a Samsung is not happy because it was an iPhone.
That's crazy. That's true, but a lot of people are like that, and everybody. I mean, phones in general were good invention, but more and more, this is what I'm seeing. Walking across highways and big streets, I see it every day, and it amazes me how no one gets hurt. Okay, sometimes, and maybe I might be admitting a bad thing. If I see somebody, if I'm standing here and I see somebody coming down like that, I still stand there. I'm not going to get out of their way and they're not looking. So I stand there and I brace myself for impact. Because I think that this is too dangerous, especially when I see them crossing the street. On that, but I think iPhones have had a big impact on a lot of things. Like that. So.
How do you teach financial responsibility to your teenage kids, or when they go off to college?
Well, I guess you got to just show them what you know, how you've done things. Give them a budget. They have to have a budget. My daughter had one when she went to Morgan State down here. We were still in New York. She came down here to Morgan State, and she told me she needed $200 for books, and this is where she got busted. She needed $200 for books. So I had her linked to my account. I was working for Chase Manhattan Bank then. So I had her linked to that account. I'm in Long Island. I lived on Long Island. And she's down here in Morgan State. So I put $200 in the account for her to get her books. I'm working at the bank. This is where my daughter, she's doing college now. So she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer yet. So, naturally I'm going to monitor the account. It's my account that I got linked to. So for books, I saw her withdrawing $20 a day. What books cost in college cost $20 a day. Yeah. So she's going to the ATM withdrawing $20 a day. That's how she got busted. I said, Jennifer, why are you spending? What books cost $25? So that's when I realized she was going to McDonald's, all the places out there and spending the money. So when I realized that, what I told her from now on, when you need books, go to the bookstore and you call me. Have them call me, go when it's not busy, have them call me and I'll pay it over the phone. So that's how I did it. And she's been the best ever since she got busted. She got nailed. On that. What I used to do, and I'm ashamed to say, when I got up to go to school in the morning, my mother, because she worked late, she was still asleep. So I'd go and take $1 out of her pocketbook. Now, $1 back in those days was like $5 now. I'm talking way back. I was in high school, but I would take $1 out of her pocketbook. And you get the feeling sometimes, parents know. She probably knew exactly what I was doing. You knew back then how much money you had. But that's what I used to do. And then, and that was just to go to White Castle. Lunchtime, we went to White Castle because in the fourth period, that's where the girls were. Go to White Castle, do a fourth period, which was about 4 blocks down from the high school. So that was life back then. It was a lot of fun. So, any other comments? Let's see, we know about friends, celebrities. We know they get on TV and they do all these commercials and make things look grand and cause you to buy. Let's see here. I would just try to keep it at building a pause. Okay, that's another thing. You may be tempted to spend money on something you don't really need right now. Okay, that's something I had to learn. It didn't kill me, just a habit. It's a bad habit, and I got a closet now that suits I should throw away, and I won't. And I don't know why. Because first of all, I don't think I'm going to gain that weight back again. It's that type of thing. But I got suits I only wore twice. And they're too nice to give away. I don't want to give them to the Salvation Army. So I have some things I give to the thrift shops on that. So talk yourself out of it, like I said, if you don't really need it. Does it help you reach your goals? What you're thinking about? Is this in my spending or savings plan? Which I really think you all should have if you don't have one. Just have something where you put money aside. Put money in a jar if you have to. And sometimes when you go out and look in that jar, and the money might be enough money to go out to dinner in that jar. You don't have to put it on a credit card or a debit card or something like that, where you're going to wind up paying for it later down the road, as opposed to right there and not worry about it anymore. And I think that's the habit I've gotten into, paying on the spot now.
Do you have any preference between a debit card or a credit card?
Credit card. No, not a debit card though with the logo on it, with either the Visa or MasterCard on it. A regular debit card, if you go someplace and use a regular debit card, that doesn't have the logo, that doesn't have a Visa or MasterCard logo. If you go to some of these stores and places and it's a debit card, and you're spending $15, they may freeze $100, especially if it's on the weekend. Okay? And they won't release that money until a day or two business days later, because you simply debited the card. Credit card, the Visa or MasterCard logo is different. It's treated like a credit card, even though it's coming out of your bank right then and there. But without those logos, it's, just a regular debit, and they may freeze funds. Only a couple of days though. But that might put you're saying, okay, I'm spending $15. I got $300 in the bank, so we're going to go over here. And when you go over here, that $300 has been frozen.
Online, we say use a credit card, not one of those debit cards.
Not even the ones with the logos, right?
Yeah, because if that gets hacked or stolen, then they're wiping out your bank account.
Right. Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder to just get a true debit card that's not MasterCard Visa though.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be anymore. Yeah.
Oh, you have to fight for it, but they'll give it to you. You just have to, I've had to return the ones with the logos twice before I convince them that such a thing exists as a true ATM card, because they don't want to give that to you.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't found a bank that says they do around here,
Well,
so,
mine does.
okay, got it.
That's interesting. So it's almost like the thing that we're getting rid of at first is coming back.
Yeah, you have to fight for it, but you can get it.
No, I usually go, this is just a habit of mine to keep from using the card. I may go like on Monday and take $100 out of the bank and let that last me for however long it lasts me and just pay cash or something like that. Because things have changed. See, with the debit card and the logo, that totally reversed what it used to be. They used to tell us tell us don't use the ATM card because you're going to freeze a certain amount of money on it. Paying off your credit cards, pay more than the balance. Not the balance, but if you can pay off the balance, fine. But if you can pay more than the money that they're asking for, the minimum payment, that's really important. If you can pay more than that amount, if they're looking for 50, pay 55, pay 60, pay 70. Anything you pay over the amount that you're asking for goes 100% totally towards the principal. Whereas if you know your payments, part of that, 75% of that might be, if you got a $100 payment, $75 might be going towards the principal, and the other $25 might be the interest on that. So you only bring it down your balance by $75. If you pay if the payment is $100 and you pay $150, that 50 is going 100% towards your balance. So it's knocking down the balance. None of that goes towards the interest. So anything you pay more than what they're asking for goes 100. That's the quickest way to pay down your balances. It's also a way to reduce how much the interest is on that because you bring it down the principal. So those are things. If you can pay off the credit card all at one time, do that. Okay. If you can transfer for a balance, if you got so that your scores are pretty good, and you're paying interest rate that maybe you shouldn't be paying for a credit card or something, especially if it's in the double digits. And you can apply for another card that maybe 0% interest. They have these promotions. And again, this is if your scores are pretty decent. They have these promotions where they'll give you 0% interest for 12 months, 16 months or something like that. I'd advise you to move money over to that if you can. Don't get caught though, where you can't pay down one. And then when that interest rate goes up a year from now, then that's going to go way up too. So you got to be careful with that. So pick and choose, but I totally advise you, if you can change an account, do that. Okay. And as far as closing out accounts, try not to do that so much because that affects your credit score. So it's the balance, it's the ratio of how much you owe and how much money you have access to that helps your scores. So if you have access to $10,000 and you owe that $10,000, you're going to have a horrible credit score. Okay, so you want to keep that ratio down, and they usually give a good ratio. They talk like 30%. So if you have $1,000 available to you and you only owe $300 out of that credit, that's a good ratio. That's 30% of your outstanding credit. Okay, so things like that to look at. That's what impacts your scores.
But you said don't close the account yet if you find like a card with a low interest rate. So doesn't your credit score get affected if you keep several cards, even if it's 0?
Yeah, so narrow it down. Just narrow it down. I'm not saying close them all. Just narrow it down. Don't have 5 open cards. Okay, 2 or 3, maybe 4, but not too much more than that. I wouldn't do that. And I certainly wouldn't have a balance on all of them.
But you'll have to close some of them if you find a better interest rate.
You don't have to leave them open. You're gonna get a charge, maybe an annual fee, a $30 annual fee, but you can leave them. I have cards that are open with no balance.
But it doesn't affect your score if you have several. Let's say you have 5 with no balance, with 0.
If you're using some of those cards, that actually helps your score. Okay, because let's say you have 5 cards, okay, and you have balances on 3 of those cards. Okay, total those 5 cards, you got access to $10,000. Okay, out of the total 5 cards, you've used 3 of those. You're using actively 3 of those cards, and between those 3 cards, you have $3,000 outstanding, but you have $10,000 available to you. So you're only using 30% of your credit. Okay, that's available to you. You shut down these cards over here, you're at 100%. If you close those other cards and you max out on these 3, then your credit score goes way down because you're maxed out. You have no more credit available to you. So that's why you should leave something open. Not a lot, close most of it, but have a couple open to help the balance of your score. We're looking at the ratio of the credit score, that 35%.
But if you have like 0 on any of them, is it?
Then you're fine.
You're okay, even if you have 5
Right,
cards.
because that's just showing what you have available to you.
Oh.
You have this available credit to you. So that's okay, because you're not using it or anything like that. And if you do have them, like you don't want to keep too many open. That's what I'm saying. If you got 5, maybe get rid of 1 or 2, okay, if you want. But if you're not using anything, then you're fine. You got an A+ score. If you put something on 1 or 2 of them, you're still going to have that A+ score because you're at a low ratio to all of that credit you have available to you. And you have to have a good ratio of credit. There's the credit cards. Then there's fixed credit, which might be like a mortgage, things like that, where you know what that's going to be. That's going to be there for a while, okay? And so there's a good ratio. There's ratio between fixed, things like that, loans, all of that stuff, credit cards to look at. And you should have a good mix. Everything should be all credit cards.
Does it hurt your credit score to close an account?
It depends. Not necessarily. It just depends on what that account is. Like the example I gave you with the credit cards, that's one example. Maybe if you're not using the card, close 1 or 2. But there's some types of account, you leave open or you should close.
Okay, because I have a credit card that I've had for like 10 years. Has a very low,
Interest rate?
well, it's 0, but there's a fee on it. every year. And, I wanna close it, but what I understand is, or what my understanding is that because I've had it so long, that improves my credit.
Absolutely.
score.
Yeah.
So it's not good to close it.
Not that one, doesn't sound like it, especially since that, because longevity is another part of your score. You say it has a low interest rate too, if you were to use it?
I'm not sure what the interest rate is, but it's only like a $300 limit.
That's fine, you've had it for a long time.
Yeah.
And you've shown that you use your credit, you pay your credit. I would leave that one open.
They charge me $65.
See, that's the idea. I wasn't sure what you were gonna tell me. That's
Yeah.
fine. I knew something. When you said $300, I said, that's one of those cards you got, years ago.
But you know what, when I call them, they waive the fee.
And that's what you're gonna continue to do.
Yeah.
Somehow, ladies and gentlemen, she had a wrong answer.
I want to make sure I should.
Yeah, that's the record. They waive it, absolutely doing the right thing.
Yeah.
If you close that one, that would impact your credit score more than the one you opened 2 years ago.
This is a good advice to give to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, if you know how to manage your
Call
credit,
them, I'm gonna cancel that.
I'm not sure.
So that happened to me too with one of the major banks. I won't say which names. But, so anyhow, what ended up happening was they waived it for the first couple of years, and then they said eventually they weren't gonna waive it anymore. And I've had it since '89, so I knew that once I canceled it, it was gonna drop my credit score.
Yeah.
So finally I said to them, well, you guys are a big bank, you have plenty of different Visas, MasterCards. Switch me over to one that is no fee. So I still have that under a no fee, but a different, still with that bank, a different type of credit card with them. It still says since '89.
oh, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
great.
Yeah.
That's absolutely great.
So keep trying to get it waived. Eventually, if they don't, then see if you can work that angle. That's like, I know you have more than one brand of credit cards. Switch me
No,
one
right.
that is no fee, because I've been a customer since. X.
89.
Mhm.
Can you, like, combine, like, the ones that have the above capital one? So is it?
They generally have different divisions, different, it's almost like a different company.
Oh, I just want to concentrate. Switch that to something else.
Whereas for a credit card, it was a fee.
Yeah.
And no fee or something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I get tempted. I ask for everything, I've been a senior now for a little while. That's the first thing out of my mouth. Senior discount. That's the first thing out of my mouth. Now, at first I was a little embarrassed, but now I go to McDonald's, I want my senior decaf. And whatever. And whatever. I was usually throwing senior out there when I turned 50, because there's a lot of things like AARP, 49 and a half. So that's what's for. That's when I started playing that card,
That's
when I
why,
got my art card.
that's why you keep your mustache, right?
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
sure that they-
Well, I'm now I got all the credentials. I got a social security check, everything coming in. But yeah, I used to throw that up, senior discount, and most of the time, nobody says anything. And I saved a lot of money that way, but yeah, senior discount or whatever, no problem. I strongly suggest you do that. And a lot of places are 50 and over. You can get a discount. It's like AARP. And that's what I used to say. They said, no, you gotta be 65. I'd go, oh, I thought and I'd have my art card. So I did that. I played the game. I played the game. If I get something cheaper, if I get a $2 sandwich for $1.50, I would do it. I was gonna do it, so. Even more, yeah. That's what I do. I get the senior movie, the 60 and older.
54 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and you begin to get in the habit with that once you start doing it. And there's some cards out here, those of you, once you get that age, there's cards out here for the national parks that you can enter in the national park free. There's some Maryland cards that you could get discounts on to enter certain things. There's just a lot of stuff out here. Financially, and I don't have money or anything like that, but financially at this age, life ain't bad. Life isn't bad with that stuff, because I'm gonna throw that senior thing out there. you take advantage of everything there is. I got a 2009 Ford Edge, and I honestly don't know if I'm gonna ever buy another car. Because it's still in good shape, you know, I drive it a few miles. I mean, sometimes I don't drive 10 miles a week. So it's a good car. I'm not trying to do anything special. I see no reason to spend money on another, not the way cars cost. So I don't, not to say I won't, but if anything, my wife will buy the next car for herself. And we'll drive our car, you know, things like that. But I don't think I'm gonna buy another car. So that makes me say, okay, I won't have this payment. I won't have a $300 or $400 payment at this time in my life. You know, things. I'll tell you something, I'll share this with you. My wife is talking about buying a house. And I think I'm going to get stuck doing it. Just up to get, because she wants one. And I want one. And we're both kind of up there, but it's one of those.
Another one or a bigger one?
No, I'm in senior apartments now. I'm in Covenant Village in Germantown. And I love it there. But I got a wife. And you know, we have to make you guys happy sometimes, you know. And you know, we have grandchildren and children and things like that, you know.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I've had a house before. I bought my first house in '84, but that cost me, you know, first marriage type of thing, you know. So, but yeah, she's talking about that now. And I may or may not do it, you know, because she's younger than I am, so the way I see that will be on her. You know.
So that's her value.
That's her value. Yeah, and I need to help her satisfy that, because we've both been through separate marriages and stuff. You know, so there's things that happen in marriages, and this is our time together. We've been together, I don't know, maybe 15 or so years now. But you're absolutely right, you hit the nail on the head. That's her value, and for her not to have that, I would feel bad that I didn't, you know, I didn't do that. When, you know, I've been a homeowner before and all of that stuff, you know, so. Oh, and this is the last thing I want, a 30-year mortgage. I don't have 30 more years to live, I can assure you that. So that's how I look at that. Well, I guess I'll regret this until I die. Okay. So that should be it about, I guess the 4 minutes are up. So I want to thank you all. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll try to do some more here. You want?